listening to Big World Network.
Delroy versus the Pirates of Poughkeepsie. Episode 1. Diamonds Are Forever. Written and read by Baron Stevens. I hung there upside down in my harness, staring at the beautiful display below me. The Araquette diamond. The largest known diamond in this part of the galaxy. It had recently been dug out of a diamond mine in the southern hemisphere of the planet Celestis. It wasn't a very hospitable planet, but the diamond deposits made it worth the short days and hot temperatures. The Araquette diamond was scheduled to be on display in their backwater museum for only 3 more days before it was shipped off to one of the more civilized planets. The value of the diamond was inestimable, but I didn't care. Here was my shot to become filthy, stinkin' rich. Now, I'm no fool. There would be no way I could sell a diamond that huge without being found and caught. No, I had a much better plan. To cut it up into little pieces and sell it as a bunch of smaller diamonds to my good friend, Bonesaw, on the planet Rio. Of course, there was the whole probation thing I was under. You know, one wrong move and I get my butt thrown in jail forever. Well, I tried to play it straight and stay above the law. It just didn't work for me, besides the fact that it was incredibly boring. And it wasn't right that a genius like me should be financially destitute. The difficulty was setting up the heist without my butler bot, Minx, finding out about it and ratting on me to my self-appointed parole officer, Stella. Of course, if he did, it would allow me to see the face of my true love again, just before she punched my lights out. She probably wouldn't even hesitate to throw me in jail either. But it might be worth it to see her again. I shook my head to get the vision of Stella out of my mind. I needed to concentrate. Instead, though, another thought crept in. Should I even be doing this? Ever since I started helping out some nuns there on Celestis, they were intent on warning me that I was heading toward a very warm place. Their words, not mine. If I didn't change my ways. It was the same thing my mom tried to tell me just before I was shipped off to juvenile delinquent school, only she used a different word. Ever since meeting the nuns, though, a question had been haunting me. Was there really such a thing as an afterlife? I didn't want there to be because, if the nuns were right, I knew it wouldn't go well for me there. I let out a string of swear words to bring myself back to the present. The last thing I needed was to mess this up and get caught. Besides, if I succeeded, I wouldn't need to do another heist ever again. This would be my last infraction. I could worry about the eternal state of my soul later. Getting to the Araquette diamond was the challenge. A crystal case separated me from the jewel, but that was easy enough to get through. The problem was getting past the dozens of invisible security lasers between me and the case. I had spent the last of my credits to buy special equipment, including goggles to allow me to see the lasers, an old winch to pull me out when I was done, and chewing gum. On a backwater planet like Celestis, the latest and greatest gear wasn't available, so I had to make do with what I could find and pay exorbitant prices for some of them. It forced me to have to pawn my ship, the Delroy Higston, in order to pay for all the stuff I needed. Once I had the diamond, though, I'd be able to get my ship out of Hawk and leave this awful planet behind. The lasers I was up against weren't your ordinary garden-variety lasers that would just set off an alarm if you happened to cross their path. No, not only did they set off the alarm, but they also had a tendency to slice off any body part that strayed in front of them. They weren't stationary either, making it nearly impossible to get through without them extracting their pound of flesh. The last thief who attempted to add the Araquette diamond to his collection ended up leaving his forearm and several fingers behind, which the museum gladly put on display to dissuade future thieves. I shuddered as I remembered looking at the severed limb earlier that day when I was pretending to be a tourist in order to scope the area out. Did I mention that I was a genius? You see, I heard about a device that could scan matter and recreate an exact copy, called a matter duplicator. It's also very illegal. And I just happened to find it when I was on a casual stroll through a top-secret lab on the planet Dearborn a couple of weeks before. It might have been after hours when the lab was closed too, but my memory's a little foggy. Anyway, I was there hoping to find something to cure a hunger crisis on Rigel 3. You know, because I'm just that great of a guy. Instead, this matter duplicator device somehow ended up in my bag. Now comes the really genius part. I wasn't actually going to steal the Araket diamond. All I was going to do was make an exact copy of it. Surely that wouldn't be illegal, so I was well above the law. Well, except for the part about breaking into the lab and then the museum, but those were only minor infractions and worth the risk. All I had to do was drill a hole in the crystal case, maneuver the matter duplicator scanner into the hole, and let the scanner send the information to the duplicator in my backpack where it would create a flawless copy. I didn't have to risk life or limb either, since I had a mechanical arm to reach between the lasers of death and do the work for me. I just had to wait for the perfect opening. The harness I wore, attached to a winch at the ceiling, grew uncomfortable as I hung there above the display case. I continued observing the lasers as they slowly swept back and forth. It was rather beautiful to watch, but if my calculations were correct, I only had 1.28 minutes before the security bot came by on patrol again. There. Every 6.8 seconds, there was a clear path to the top of the case lasting a whole 3.9 seconds. Plenty of time. I waited for the next opening and, with expert grace, thrust my drill arm through. "Sir, are you busy?" sounded loudly through my earpiece. It was Minx. The sudden question surprised me and almost caused me to drop the drill arm. I quickly pulled it back up before a laser severed it and set off the alarm. "Yes, I am, you idiot bot," I hissed into the receiver. "Oh, sorry, sir. I didn't mean to interrupt. I sure hope you aren't doing anything that would be illegal at the moment. I would hate to have to report to Miss Stella that you were breaking the law again." That stupid bot always was suspicious of me, even when I wasn't doing anything wrong. I guess I'd shot him a few too many times when I was trying to relieve my frustrations. And of course, technically he now belonged to Stella. She had tricked me into turning over my ownership of Minx, so now his loyalties rested with her. The traitor. "How are the nuns doing?" Minx asked. Earlier, I had told him I was going to help out the nuns at the nearby monastery with the surveillance system around their winery. And I told the truth, too. I was heading over there once my little heist was finished. I figured they'd make a great alibi. "They're wonderful," I said, gritting my teeth at the delay. "But Sister Elizabeth is quite the taskmaster." Minx chuckled. "True. It's about time someone made you do some honest work. Give her my best regards." I had to concentrate to keep the stress out of my voice. "What do you want, Minx?" "I have a dilemma, sir. It seems the market is out of raw milk. Should I purchase the whole or the 2%? "Whole. You know I don't care about the fat. Now get off the line. I need to concentrate on some tricky coding I'm in the middle of." "Very good, sir. Should I pick up some chocolate powder while I'm here? I have a recipe for a marvelous souffle I'm sure you'll love." I sighed. "Sure, whatever. Just get off the line." "Yes, sir." The receiver in my ear clicked off. Butler bots. Can't live with them, can't live without them. I returned my concentration to watching the laser pattern and found my opening again. The countdown timer in my goggles informed me that I had less than a minute left before the security bot came back around. I thrust the drill down to the case and made a small hole in it. Fortunately, a tourist earlier that day had accidentally dropped some chewing gum onto the vibration sensor, rendering it useless. After pulling the drill back, with a whole 0.32 seconds left, I popped it off the arm and inserted the scanner attachment. During the next opening, I pushed the scanner through the hole in the case and let it make the scan. Unfortunately, the scan would take longer than my opening between laser sweeps, so once the scanner was inside, I had to detach it and pull the arm back before the next sweep began. I waited 2 more cycles before the device in my pack gave off a muffled beep. Success! An exact copy of the Araket diamond now rested in the tamper-proof case in my pack. The only thing left to do was to insert the arm once more and retrieve the scanner. Just as I reattached the metal arm to the scanner and started pulling it out of the case, I heard a metallic voice say, "Stop!" I glanced up to see the security bot sitting in front of the diamond case, pointing its stunner attachment at me. What was it doing there? I still had another 13.3 seconds before it was supposed to pass by. The distraction caused me to not pull up the metal arm in time before it was severed by the laser. The end of it clattered against the top of the display case before it tumbled off and was shredded into several smaller pieces. The scanner was no more, but no big deal. I had the copy of the diamond in my pack, so my mission was complete. I pushed the button on my harness to activate the winch in the ceiling. If the guy who sold me the winch told the truth, it would whisk me to the ceiling faster than the bot could track me. I was home free. The winch zipped me upward towards safety, until it coughed and sputtered for a moment. Before it could kick back into gear, I heard the bot's weapon go off. After that, I didn't remember a thing for several hours. That's the last time I buy a used winch on sale.
You're listening to Big World Network.